Take it away, Liam.
Broadcasters are very quick to cover the doom and gloom, Patrick, so let's cover something quite interesting. Now, these aren't GDP numbers, these aren't official growth numbers, but there's a very, very well-regarded, highly authoritative series of numbers called the Purchasing Managers Index, which are surveys of commercial leaders, business owners, and they're like they preempt GDP numbers. And the Purchasing Manager Index number for January and February suggests that we could actually avoid recession. Let's have a quick look at some of the numbers here. So back in December 2022, the Purchasing Manager Index was down at 49. In January, it was at 48.5, which is even lower. And in February, despite a lot of people saying it would be 47, it was actually 53. And bear in mind, Patrick, with these PMI numbers, if the reading is 50 or more than 50, that is what indicates economic growth. OK, so what this is suggesting is that in February, according to surveys of business leaders, they fill in these surveys and they suggest what they think is happening, whether they're going to invest, whether they're going to grow, whether their orders have gone up, whether they're running pubs, restaurants, factories or whatever they're doing. And it's if the PMI says that GDP figures are going to get better, they nearly always get better. So for months and months, we've had people saying, of course we're going to go into recession, the UK's slowest growing economy, etc., etc. It looks like we've dodged this bullet. It looks like we are going to go into recession now, at least on the strength of these PMI numbers, which is good news. This will give people in boardrooms across the country, whether their boardroom is in a big, tall office building or their kitchen table, it will give them strength of mind to invest and to carry on growing.
You know, it's great this, because I think if you listen to a lot of broadcasters and media outlets, if you stuck your head out the window, you would expect to see Britain in the middle of some kind of nuclear Armageddon and everything's absolutely rubbish and it's all go to hell in a handcar. And the reality is, clearly, not that. But what will this mean going forward for Jeremy Hunt?
Well, we've got the budget coming up on March the 15th. I say it to you pretty much every day when we have these chats in the studio each afternoon. And there's so much going on behind the scenes. We've got that big Tory tax row that I've been talking about over the last couple of days. A lot of Conservative backbenchers, they don't want corporation tax going up from 19 to 25%, which is currently the law. It's going to go up in April. You've now got some national newspapers behind that campaign as well, including my own paper, The Telegraph, and the Daily Mail. That's a mighty formidable combination. You've got George Osborne, the former Chancellor, no friend of Rishi Sunak, quite frankly, a Remainer and a Brexiteer, saying that corporation tax shouldn't go up either. But what we've also had today, apart from these, frankly, really quite interesting and encouraging PMI numbers, we've had numbers, Patrick, and again, I think woefully underreported from the Treasury, from the Office for National Statistics, showing that in January, the UK government was actually in surplus, quite a healthy surplus. So they got a lot more revenue in than they took in, than they actually spent. And the surplus was about £5.4 billion. The Treasury was thinking that there would be no surplus in January. And if you go from April last year to January, so that's most of the tax year, April to April, the OBR, the Office of Budget Responsibility, has now underestimated the power, the health of the UK's public finances by about £30 billion.
Wow.
The estimates back in November are £30 billion off. So that is an awful lot of fiscal headroom. So you're going to get trade unionists looking at these numbers saying, so you can afford to pay us more money to try and break these strikes. And you'll also get Tory backbenchers saying, so you can afford to cut taxes. This is good news from the Treasury, but it's the kind of good news that Jeremy Hunt is not going to want to hear.
There you go, Liam. Thank you. It's always absolute gold, mate. Cheers. Liam Halligan there, our economics and business editor.